backend PHP script that will be executed when I want to set through this computer system configuration. Now imagine this is the page that I've got now. What I can do with this page, I can say I want to set based on the specification number. Okay, I can set using the vendor name. I can set using the brand name. I can click whatever I like to. Okay, for example, let us say I would like to set this using the specification number wise and the vendor name, seeing what are the systems that are available in this. Okay, now you can see it went and then executed something, and then now it is saying these are all the vendors that are available who have supplied computer system configurations to IIT Madras. There is MS Dev System Services, HCL Infosys, Home Enterprises, Data Logics India Private Limited, blah 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 thing, Apple India, Fujitsu India. All these are the vendors who have supplied machines to the IIT Madras. Okay. Now let us say I'm interested in finding out if HCL has any systems that are in rate contract that it can supply to IIT Madras. Then say submit. Okay. Now these are all the systems HCL can supply to IIT Madras. You can see Celeron dual core E4. This is the IIT specification. E1400 standard Intel chipset suitable. This is specification 1. Okay, this is the specification for which IIT Madras configuration, and then the price for this is 11,090 rupees. Okay, this is a national brand. This is an 18.5-inch monitor that it is going to supply. So these are all the computer system configurations that HCL can supply. For example, 2, you can see these are all the systems that it can supply. Now if you go click on this, you will get the basically this can show. If you actually set this up, it will show the actual specification that can be part of what is the actual IIT Madras specification thing that is available there. Okay, that requires some more modification in the database right now. Okay, so this is searching through the database. Okay, you are searching through the now let us say if I want to say I want to see if there are any Apple products that are available in the rate contract. And if I submit, now you can see these are all the Apple products that are available. Apple iMac 21-inch Intel Core 2 Duo, okay, 30.6 gigahertz integrated LCD, 1 GB DDR3. This is the specification. Okay, and you can see the corresponding price would have been here. Okay, price unit price. This is actually something with extended warranty. Actually, this would have gone. IIT Madras rate contract 75,000 plus VAT option plus blah 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 things, whatever they've quoted. All this is available for. So what is the idea of this? The idea of this is once this is available, somebody can choose. Any faculty in IIT Madras can choose this system for this price and immediately can order. And Apple will supply for this price that system to the faculty of IIT Madras for their projects, regular work, any work. They can use this specification to order for this system. Okay, and there is a validity for this rate contract. So for such time this is valid, you can go and then order for that. Okay, now you can see home enterprises, for example. Again, you want to see if there are any home enterprise supplied systems for IIT Madras. Again, you can see these are all the systems home enterprise is going to give, and there is this system which is supplied for 11,950 rupees. Okay, right. Now you can also here say what is the specification number. You can give a specific specification number 6 here, and you can go and then now search. There's nothing available by home enterprises for specification number 6. Okay, now you can go further down and say what are all the specification numbers. Leave now the vendor name. Now all specification numbers that are available will come. Now go to 6 Now you can say submit. This will give you all the details, whoever is supplying for specification 6. For example, you can see MS Canosier Electronics Limited for specification number 6. This is the specification number 6. Pentium dual core blah 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 thing, and then this is available at rupees 23,912. Okay, without monitor it is available at 17,623. Okay, this is a live application. As you can see, you can click, for example, any of this processor name and the clock speed, and then now say submit. These are all the things that are available. Now you can go and then say I want for 2.2 gigahertz. Then you can basically, if it is available, it will give. Otherwise, it will say nothing and the specification is available. So you can keep searching through this to find out if something matches your configuration, whether something can be obtained by you. Okay. For example, you just want to see based on the price, you can go here and then check on the price. Then you get, for example, all the price things that are available. I can see these are all the price. For example, I have only 35,000. Then I can say, look, I can buy only up to 31,000. Then it will actually match. For example, as you can see, all those which are possibly at that price. Okay, I can get now anything that is actually less than 31,000 or 31,300. As you can see, this is the price. These are the two configurations that match the price that I have selected, 31,300. So I can buy both these machines if my budget is only 35,000. Okay, right? So this is the live example. Are there any questions on this example? So let me just go back. I'll again show you what are all the other things that are possible in this, and then take you a little deeper on this. Okay. Let me just go to the. Okay. Are there any questions on this? Yes, I think all of you are getting the. Let me just go back to one of the colleges. Okay, and then ask a question now. I'll go to Jntuk K3C. Are you actually publishing your video, Jntuk K3C? Start the interaction. I think the selected thing is not publishing. Anybody who is publishing the video? I'll just go to Jntuk Kakinada itself and see if I can. No, they're also not publishing. Okay. Which other college is publishing its video? Any college publishing its video? No, I'm still not seeing any college publishing its video. I suddenly would like to see the video published because that's very important for me. Okay. Okay. So how does this fit into our database application, and what are the kind of things that will be involved in development of the this application? First thing is the HTML page and the Apache web server. So in the LAMP stack, what we call as Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. This is the most important stack for developing the database applications. Okay. Now, the first part of the application part is what you're seeing here. This is basically the Apache web server. The front end is basically a web server. Okay. And you're seeing this web server. As you can go now, printers and scanners also you can search. We can start now doing all this. So this is basically the backend scripts. As you see here, there's a print set CGI bin script. Okay. And the CGI bin script is the backend PHP script that is run as part of the post message here. When you're actually posting a message here, that is actually going and running a backend script on the web server. Where is the web server running here now? It's running on the local host. This could also be running somewhere else. For example, I can make this run on your browser, and then the connection could happen to my server here where the PHP script can run. Okay. Now the PHP script is going to go and then open a backend database system, and the database system is going to be what we will see as a MySQL database system. Okay, in a minute we are going to go into that. So what we will have here is a terminal. Okay, I'll just see what is the, so at the back end there is not the file system that is running. What you are running now is a database system, and this database system is what you will see as a backend system. Instead of files, now this will be this backend system. Okay, now you can see here this MySQL prompt coming in here. So instead of a file system, what you have got now is a database management system. Okay, all your data will be stored into this database system now. This is like a vault now. You're no longer storing the, you are actually having now, imagine all your books, you are storing it in a rack, and then you are having a key and lock for that rack. Okay, now if you want to access any of the books in your rack, you need to first log into that database, which is equivalent to now opening that rack with your key, getting inside, and then picking the book that you want, make whatever changes you want, again keep it back and then lock it. Okay, this MySQL is something like this. Okay, this is actually the database management system. This actually manages all your data. Okay, as far as the front end application is concerned, what you are seeing now is this database management system where all your data is kept. Okay, now you can see here what are all the databases that are there in this. Now under the rate contract November 18_18, I'm actually using all my data into this. This is like a file. Instead of just being a file, now this is like a ruled notebook, and it makes sure that only authorized people get in, authorized people make changes. When power goes off, it makes sure that the data is not corrupted. When two people are simultaneously accessing this, it makes sure the data is not corrupted. All these are actually ensured as part of this system now. By putting your data into this system, not into a file, you will get all these properties. Now you can say, I can use this particular database. Okay, we're going to go into depth of this during the course of this class. Okay, use this is the database system that I'm using now. Okay, now I can say, show me all the tables that are part of this database. These are all the tables that I have inside my database system. This is nothing but files, but then these files are now, for example, you want to see what each of these files will look like. Now this is, you can see this file called users. Okay, this is like a ruled notebook. This is a table. What is that this table is containing now? In this table, you can store the following thing: the ID. The ID, now you can see this is the field name, this is the type of the field, and this is, we will see the other parts of what is here while we are doing this course. This is just an introduction. So in some sense, this is like a ruled notebook. You have the field and you have the type. What is the type of that particular field, and what is the actual value that is there in this particular field? For example, what are the IDs in the ruled notebook? What do I have in this table? I've got an ID, I've got a company. That means the company is basically, I'll give the company name here, and for the company, for each company which is in the database system, I'll give a username and a password and a corresponding rating, if it is available. For each of the company, what is its current rating also will be provided as part of this database system here. Okay, now you can see what is actually stored in this table by actually using some commands. Again, you will see this later. not now. Now you can see these are all the data that is present in this particular table. That means for a minute, imagine that this is a table. Okay, this is like a table that we are telling, ruled notebook. The ID is 1. The company name is MSCCS Infotech Limited, blah, blah, blah thing. Rating is 4. So this is like a ruled notebook that you will be seeing it here. Okay. Now, what is the backend database now containing? The backend database system has all these tables. Try to understand how the whole application is working now. So you have actually, for the application that we saw, these are all the tables that I have created. Okay, in my database, these are all the tables. Okay, table has these fields. For example, I've just shown one table. You can see the other table also here. Okay, describe the table for me. This is the ruled, no, the table column, that field ID, the type, what are the values that it is having. All this is actually stored here. Okay, right? Now again, you can go and then find out what is the data that is available in this at this point of time. So what is the application consisting of now? And the front end, there is a HTML web page. The server is running an app server, and whatever messages that get posted from the front end will go and then trigger a PHP script at the back end, and the PHP script is going to now connect to this database and pull the, like what your C program is reading files, your scripts are going to now open and read the information that is available in this file. For example, whatever we are doing in the sets through here, imagine we went into this sets here, okay, computer system configuration. Okay, now when I say specification number, okay, and I say submit, you are seeing now all the specifications that are available in the rate contract. Okay, now you can see up to 129. For actually populating this, the previous script, when I actually submit this submit is a post message on the HTML page. Okay, now this submit will go and then execute. Let us go and further back. Okay, when I submit this, I'm actually saying I want to now search based on the specification number. Okay, now you can see here all the values that are available here up to 129 were picked up from the specification table that is there at the backend database. So what is the way this whole thing worked now? This is an HTML page. The HTML page, I actually say submit. Okay, sorry, I actually go back one more time. Okay, this is HTML page. Now I've actually, these checkboxes and all that are part of my HTML page. So this came to my browser and I rendered it. Now I say submit. This submit will go and then execute this PHP program. PHP is, no, that's where I asked in the first class whether you have done any scripting program. This is like a, any Perl or PHP, the scripting language, right? You will write using your programs using PHP. Now in this case, this is a PHP program. Okay. Now when you say submit, this went and then executed that PHP script. This is like a C program. For all practical purposes, it's like a C program. And the C program would have opened a file for you in the normal context. Now the PHP program here has gone and then opened a backend database system for you. Okay, a backend database system which I just showed you, MySQL database system, and it has all those tables. Now it went and opened the specification table, okay, and then read all the values that are there in the specification table. You can see this table, the specification numbers up to 129 are there in that table. So it read that information. Again, it is showing it to me on the browser here. Now when I say submit, for example, if I say now click some 4 or something and submit, this will go and execute that PHP script. As you can see, this is the for specification 4. It went again, read the information from the backend database and shown that information to me here. Okay. So what are all the elements that are involved in this now? A front-end HTML page, a back-end web server, a PHP script that will get executed in response to the information that I've submitted, and that PHP script opening the MySQL database, picking the data from the MySQL database and showing the information in the front end. Okay, right? So this is the complete stack that is used for development of this full application. This is what is called Linux. This is the operating system that is running on this is a version of the Linux. This operating system is actually called, whatever you're seeing here is actually called the Small operating system. This is an operating system developed by IIT Madras. So you see this system here. This is the Bosmol operating system. This is a version of the Linux, minimalistic object-oriented Linux. This is the operating system. At the lowest level, there is an operating system running. Okay, Bosmol operating system, Linux operating system. On top of which, we actually seeing an application running. Okay, then Apache web server is running. Okay, that's basically LA. Linux is the operating system on which an Apache web server is running. Okay. On top of it, we already saw that there is a MySQL system that is running here. Okay. I just logged into that system a while back. Right. This is the MySQL system. Okay. This is MySQL running where all the data is kept. The database system is MySQL. Okay. And your programming language on which the web server is running is the PHP. Okay. LAMP. This is actually called the LAMP stack for developing the database applications. At the back end, you have MySQL. At the front end, you have the Apache web server. As an operating system, you have got the Linux operating system. So the full stack that is used for developing the database applications generally is called this LAMP stack. This is an open stack. Okay, open source software that is available for developing the database applications. This is called Linux, Apache web server, MySQL, and PHP, popularly known as LAMP, LAMP stack. Okay, the LAMP stack is what is used for developing the database application in this particular case. Okay, this is what we are going to study in some sense in this course. What you are going to study is how to develop database applications. What are the concepts of designing the backend database? These are generic. You can apply using this LAMP stack. I'm only using LAMP stack here because it's open source. You can use instead of MySQL, you can use an Oracle database system. You can use the SQL server of Microsoft. All are similar. They'll all do the same thing which MySQL is doing. Now, if you learn MySQL, you can use instead of MySQL Oracle. Okay. It will also allow you to create the tables that I've shown you. It allows you to actually create the database. It allows you to use the database. All the functionalities are going to be the same. Similarly, you can use Microsoft SQL Server. But then, in the case of those servers, you have to buy the licenses. Whereas in the case of MySQL, it is free, open source. So anybody can use it. You can download MySQL Server and you can use it as I'm teaching the course. Okay. That's why I'm using an open stack. Similarly, that's Bosmol Linux. You will be able to download and install on your computer system. Similarly, the Apache web server is also free. You can download and then install your Apache web server. PHP is also free. You can get that and then you can install it as part of your web server. So the Linux, Apache, PHP, and MySQL are an open stack. The corresponding proprietary stacks could be Oracle. You can use an Oracle server on different kinds of operating systems. Okay, MySQL server you can use on Windows. So it depends on what other operating systems, which are all proprietary operating systems. Then you have to actually have the license to run it on your system. Okay, except for that, whatever you will be studying using the open stack, Linux, MySQL, Apache stack will be applicable for all of that. This is for you to show how the full application gets developed using the LAMP stack. Okay. Now, what are the different things that we are going to teach you in this course? First thing is when you want to develop database applications, the first thing that you need to do is you need to actually design the user's requirements. For example, in this particular case, the user has specific requirements. Searching through this rate contract is a user requirement, and he has all these different kinds of configurations. So you should know what is the user requirement. Okay, this is basically called the user requirements modeling or systems requirement specification. It is also called SRS. Okay, depending on what the system needs to do, you need to actually go and then look at what are the requirements of the end user. That's the first thing that you will do in any database application. Once you do that, then you have to design all the front end configurations. So this is basically what we're going to study. Is not so much on how to design the front ends. We assume that it is very easy for you to come up with some level of front end designing. So this is not part of the course. We'll only teach you how the connectivity, once you have this, how exactly you will do the rest of the things in terms of connecting the applications to the backend database system. So in this particular case, since we already understand the user's requirements, all the things that we are doing is the design web pages are used, and we are looking at how these web pages further go and then access the database system. The key thing is I've come up with some tables at the back end. As you can see, there are actually tables which we are using here. Okay, this system has so many tables designed here. As you can see here, this backend system has about 15-20 tables. IIT spec add-ons, these are all the tables that I've designed as part of this application. Now the question is, how do you come up with these tables? Each table has its own set of fields. For example, look at the table. Okay, you can describe the users table here. Okay, now these are the fields that I'd come up with. Now the key question is, how did I come up with these fields? Okay, now are there some issues while I'm actually coming up with this design of these tables? Okay, now what could have been one, these are only higher level ideas that I'm going to throw at this point of time. This is basically called the database design, backend database design, how you design your database. Now in this particular case, I have all these tables. Instead of all these tables, I can create one master table which will have all the information in one big table itself. Okay, we're going to see that's obviously not a good way of designing your systems. You have to come up with appropriate tables here, appropriate number of tables in designing your systems, and that's what we're going to see. How did I come up with these tables? What is the database design? Okay, how did I come up with this database design in this particular case? Okay, how did we arrive at these tables? How did we arrive at these subfields? How do we actually say that this is a good database design? What are the concepts that allow you to say that this is a good database design? What are the things that you should be worried when you're designing these database tables? Okay, these are things that we're going to study as part of the next 2-3 months of this course. Okay, that's typically what we're going to do as part of the whole thing. Okay, before I actually sign off for today's class, okay, I would like to again go back to, if possible, to Vijayanagaram people and then talk to them a little bit on what I'm doing today. Okay, let me see if I can go back to them. Okay. Am I able to go back to? Can I get Vijayanagaram campus again, please? There's the only thing that seems to be publishing its live feed for me. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually seeing some students here. See, all this what I've explained in today's class is also available as a recorded video lecture from NPTEL on lecture number 1. Okay. I've explained it in a different way here. I've shown you what all is happening here in that application. But then NPTEL lecture number video. If you go to YouTube, look for NPTEL lecture 1. The content is more or less will be the same. It will show you exactly this application, show those tables, everything. Okay. Now let me ask a few questions to these students. Okay. First thing is, um, what do you think will be limitation of just storing your data just in a table format? Can all kinds of data be stored in a table format? Can you give me an example where storing data in a table format could be very difficult? You understand a table now? A table is basically a set of columns, fields and columns. Okay. Now, student information, student name, student roll number, what the student is crediting, what are the courses is crediting, what is the GPA or the percentage of marks. All of this can be easily stored in a tabular format, column, okay, field and a column, set of columns. Now, can you give me an example where storing data in a table form could be very, very difficult? Can you give me an example of a data? Can you give me another example of a data that fits into table format at least? Again, I'll go to Ramya. Is Ramya there or is she sleeping? Is Ramya there? Ramya, are you there in the class? Prabhakar? Is Ramya there in the class or Prabhakar or Prashanti? Are you listening to me? Are you able to hear me, Prashanti? I see the students there, but then I don't know what's happening. Why the live feed is not coming back to me? Is it coming? Hello? Hello? I'm getting the frozen picture from Vijayanagaram campus. I would like to interact with this group.
Sir.
Hello?
Sir.
Yeah. Yes. Can you tell me an example where fitting the data into a simple column format, the data will not fit into a simple tabular format? Does all data fit in the same table format? I have only now, what I've shown you is the tables. Okay. Now, what are the case where the data may not fit into a table format? What about Prabhakar? Prashanti. The other is white. This thing is Prashanti, right? Is it Prashanti? The white chudidar girl's name is Prashanti, right? Yes or no? I'm not getting the response back. It's not live. Is here, okay? Prabhakar, can you tell me an example where the data cannot be put into a table format? Table format, you understand? Understand tables now? Just simple. Write the rule book, actually writing the columns, putting it in the column and putting the data in a column format. How will you store? I'll give you a hint. Okay, I want to store all the parts that are there in Maruti car. Okay, I want to store the information relating to all the parts of Maruti car. How will I store that?
Image.
Huh? I'm not talking about images here. I'm just talking about the part information, part
Yes, in
number.
photo, sir.
Huh? You'll store it in photo. Will you store it as photos? See, there are a lot of parts, right? Maruti car has few thousand parts. Okay, each part has a part number and it has information relating to that part, right? Okay, now that suddenly cannot be stored as a, can you store that as a table? Because fields are going to be different for each part, so you end up either creating 1000 tables, and what will be the entry, how many
No,
number
sir.
of entries will be there in the table? One entry. Okay, 1000 tables, and each table will have just one entry. Okay, right? Is it making sense or it's not making sense?
Okay.
That's not a very suitable way of storing the information in tables. When will it make suitable to make store data in tables? When you have a large number of rows. Okay, and the fields are same. For example, 1000 students, all students will have the same fields. Okay, student name, advisor. Okay, so basically there will be 5 fields and then 1000 students, 1000 rows, 5 columns, 1000 rows. Okay, so that's when tables will make sense. If you have 100 fields, 100 columns and 1 row, okay, 100 columns and 1 row and 1000 such tables, won't make much sense to create tables, right? Is it making sense or it's not making sense? When will a table will make sense? Number of columns should be less, number of rows should be more. Okay, what will be a table? A table is the number of columns. Understand the number of columns and rows in a table? You understand columns and rows? Do you understand columns and rows in a table? Prabhakar, do you understand column and row in a table? Yes or no? Do you understand column and row? Hmm? Do you understand column and row? I'm not getting any response. It's not going to be interactive. I want to find out, is it making, not everything, not all forms of data can be put in a tabular format. What is the table? Table has some columns and some rows, right? A table will have n number of columns and n number of rows. Now the columns should be less, rows should be more. Then only a table will make sense. Okay, right? Not getting these guys at all. I don't know what's happening with them. You want to store all the web pages. Google has, Google has web pages. How many number of web pages will be there on the web? Millions of pages.
Number.
Right? And then how will you store? Let us say now you want to store these web pages. How will you store them? Think about these things. Okay, you can no longer store them as a simple. Those data is different from the kind of data that you will store in the case of bank. What we are going to study is what is the data model. I go to data model and then come to ER modeling. Okay, first I will tell you what is the data models. What are the different data models? Okay, next class we're going to start looking at, from next class onwards, what we will be looking at, what is the model for the data. What is the model, simple model for the data? Simple model for the data is table, a set of tables. Okay, all the data will be stored in a set of tables. Okay. Now what is a table? A table is going to have n columns and n rows. Okay. Now the columns should be less and rows should be more. Then only a table will make sense. That's one data model. But that's not the only data model. There are lots of other kinds of data models. This is a very popular data model called the relational data model. It's also called relational database system. Okay. Now in this course, predominantly what you're going to study is course, relational database model. By far, relational database model will capture a lot of common business applications. It's a de facto model for a lot of business applications. That's where we have what we study in this course is what is called the relational database model, RDBMS. Okay, but there are other kinds of models. So in the next class, what we are going to do is we're going to focus and look at various other kinds of data models and see how the relational database model will fit and how we actually develop applications using the relational database model. We're going to look at that part and then we will get on to the common application that we have shown you, and we'll use that common applications for building the whole context. What I'm seeing is, by looking at your faces, I'm seeing that you need to actually study a lot of material. Otherwise, you will have difficulty in following with me. Okay. Now, let me catch one other student. Let me have one more interaction with one other student. Okay. Can you give me one more example of no, a way of storing information is using graphs? What kind of data will fit in as a graph model? Okay, we looked at table model. What will be the information that fits in as a graph? You understand graph? You guys understand graph? What is a graph? What is a graph? One node points to another
Collection
node.
of edges, sir.
Edges, right? Now give me an example of a data that fits in as a graph.
Air traffic.
Air traffic? What is air traffic? What is the kind of thing that you do in air traffic?
Aeroplane routes.
Aeroplane
Maps.
routes. So what will you store in aeroplane routes? Okay, that's a good example. So basically you will say that what will be the vertex and what will be the connection connecting to the vertices.
Source and destination. Routes.
Or source and destination. Good. So basically what you will do is all the cities are the vertices, right? And all the links will connect.
Yes.
Whatever routes are there, they'll connect to the, okay? How will you now store this
Yes.
information? Can you store this as a table?
No, sir.
Okay. Now you understand the difficulty of, another good example is for the graph database is buyers and sellers. Let us say there are a lot of sellers who are selling no. Now you know Flipkart and all that you have seen, right? Flipkart, are you familiar with Flipkart? They are buyers
Yes, sir.
and sellers. Okay. Now buyers is one node, sellers is one node. They're all selling. Now how do we put that into a table? We can't just easily put this data into a simple tables, right? Now,
Yes.
is it clear that all big data cannot be stored into simple tables? Okay. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
So not all data fits in as tables. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So in this course, we'll only look at applications that fit into tables. We won't look at applications or data that doesn't fit in as a tables. Okay. What fits into tables is generally called as a relational database model. Okay, RDBMS. We'll study this more in the next class. Good. I'm reaching somewhere now. Okay. What are the kind of things that you will do on your graph data? And if you have a large graph, what are the kind of operations that you will do on the graph?
Relation between different nodes, sir.
You'll basically try to navigate in the graph, which means that you want a route from here to Guwahati. So how will you go through that now? You will say go to Calcutta, from Calcutta to Guwahati. So you basically navigate in the graph. Okay. You go through the graph. What you do is navigational queries on the graph data. Okay. What do you do in your tabular data? You will basically ask the questions like, give me all the students who are sleeping in this class. Okay. That's basically a set. I'm actually looking at in tables, you will retrieve all the data that is set oriented. Give me all those students whose CGPA is greater than 9. Give me all the students whose age is greater than 20. Give me all the students who are doing database course. Okay. Right. On tables, the kind of queries that you will perform are basically called set-oriented queries. The set-oriented queries means that you will basically retrieve all those rows which satisfy some criteria. Okay, that is how you actually work on tables. How do you work on graphs? Graphs, you are actually working as navigation. How do I reach from here to Guwahati? And basically you'll find out how to reach Calcutta from Calcutta to Guwahati. So you'll basically perform navigational queries on graph databases, whereas in the case of tables, relational tables, you will perform set-oriented queries. The kind of thing you perform on these tables is also different. We're going to study all this. This is only a introductory thing, but I want you to understand there are different forms of data. Okay, and all forms of data cannot be stored in simple tabular format. Okay, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'll come back to you guys on Friday. Okay. On Friday we're going to, no, by Friday I'm planning to set right my whiteboard so that I can write on the whiteboard. Hopefully by Friday I'll have the whiteboard ready for me to actually write and then give you the notes which you can also take. Right now I'm not actually giving the notes, but please look at lecture 1 of NPTEL course. Okay, right. Okay, and I'll come back to you on Friday. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.